We all need to find a purpose for our lives. We crave it. We want to find the thing that we're good at, that we can achieve something with and distinguish ourselves from our fellow human beings. It's a deep, deep yearning to find significance. What happens with gamers so frequently is that, in some sense, they've missed the boat and they're looking a way to salvage their self-esteem. So they distinguish among their peers in an imaginary world and, congratulate themselves about their stats and their this and their that and their other, and the fact that you don't worship, admire, respect their accomplishments shows you as being not particularly insightful. And it's a gamble, and it's a gamble that goes on. So there is I think, 16th century Catholic monk by the name of Saint Augustine, and there's a very famous quote that says, "Our hearts are restless until we find rest in you, O God." And I think it's quite true that we're just never quite satisfied. And when you look around and look at all the bragging and boasting and lying about our achievements, just the fraudulent things that people put on the table because they so want to be admired and respected. And they so want to feel like they're above their fellow man. Um, it's important to realize that, all the king spots, they're taken. You know, the rest of us have to do this thing called work. And oftentimes, it's digging in the coal mines. And that's what builds character in our lives. And that's what one of the ways that we find our way to our purpose. And very often our purpose is in the mundane, is in the day in and day out, scrubbing the toilet, scrubbing the floors, um, doing doing things consistently without complaining, without making yourself out to be a martyr, uh, serving God or your higher power dutifully and faithfully with the fullness of heart and not looking for adulation, worship, applause from anyone. So this February 14th, I love that it's Valentine's Day. So I was trying to frame this around finding our purpose in this world. And that is very satisfying to the human soul, to the human heart. So, February 14th, confusion can be a gift from God. Looking back on instances when I felt desperately in need of an immediate solution, I can see that I often wasn't ready to act. When I became fully ready, the information I needed was there for the taking. When I know too much about my options before the time is right to exercise those options, I tend to use the information only to drive myself crazy. That's why today, when I'm feeling confused, I try to consider it grace. It may not yet be time for me to act. I think that dealing with confusion can be like cooking. If the bread isn't done, I don't take it out of the oven and insist it's time to eat it. I let it finish baking. If a clear solution to a problem hasn't shown itself yet, I can trust that it will appear when the time is right. Today's reminder: I will thank my higher power for whatever experience today, even if I feel troubled or confused. I know that every experience can offer me a gift. All I have to do is be willing to look at my situation in the light of gratitude. And then there's a quote here from Helen Keller, a blind woman, that says, "Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence. And I learn, whatever state I may be in, therein to be content." So I pray on this Valentine's Day that you find some peace and contentment with your particular situation, that you look for the positive in all of it and understand that the difficulties that are there are useful for building character. So there's nothing bad going on. It's just our attitude, it's our perspective. Happy Valentine's Day.